in NKA and typing in NKA Idaho. That will also let you access some of our other NKA classes that have also been recorded. NKA, for your information, is a volunteer-driven organization that was established in 2015 in the Treasure Valley. And all the volunteers of NKA take a lot of pride in providing lifelong learning experiences and a lot of fun for our community. Before we get started, there are a couple of housekeeping items I'd like to take care of, and I've got to close something on my computer screen there. Your microphones are muted, so if you have a question during class, you'll use your chat box by taking your cursor to the bottom of your screen. If you do that, you'll see a little symbol that looks like a word bubble. And you can type your question in there, press enter, and then we'll take periodic breaks throughout the class to look at any questions that have been posed at that point. Also, we understand that some of you may have time constraints. So if you do happen to need to leave the class early, you'll take the cursor again to the bottom of the screen where you'll find a button that says leave. And when you click on that, you will be able to leave the class. All right. I would like to introduce today's presenter, Pam Root. Pam, take it over.
Hi, everyone. My name is Pam Root, and I am an employee of AARP Idaho. Our office is in Boise, and we're still working from home most of the time. So I wanted to give an overview of the purpose of this class. And then I'll give a little bit of my background. But originally this class was going to be, we were going to sit and do the puzzles together and, talk about it and see, well, how are you doing? And that was before I started mine and saw the 4 pages of very detailed instructions and realized, wow, okay, this is going to take a lot longer than 90 minutes to do. So I first off want to say that really I am not an expert. I'm going to say that disclaimer. I'm not an expert on putting together 3D wooden puzzles. In fact, this is the first one I've ever done. So I thought it would be a little easier. I'll show you, this is the kit that I ordered for myself. Several of you got this one. It's the mechanical music box. And I think it's going to be really pretty when I finish. I think that there are 4 different patterns that people received, actually 5. I remember I sent Lisa Lettner a one-off just because I wanted to see it. But I think about a 4th of you got the Ferris Wheel that included a paint set. That was the only kit that included a paint set. And then several got the mechanical music box. Some of you got a ship to put together. And then let's see. Oh, and then some of you got the clock, which is a functioning clock, and it had a lot less pieces. I think it only had 84 pieces. So during this 90 minutes, what we're going to do is look at this as we're going to talk about a little bit about brain health. And really, there are other classes on brain health that have been held, and they go into depth about it. This is going to be more of a conversational class. I believe that brain health is very important. I have my mother. I'm going to be 60 in 3 weeks, and my mother is 90. She was just diagnosed a couple of years ago with dementia, but she's still living on her own. She lives across the country in Florida. She won't move. So that got me even more interested in brain health. And so I tend to, my background is I worked, my first full-time job after school was as a adult services librarian at the Nampa Public Library. So I worked there from 1982 to 1997. Then I worked for a corporate legal department, the Albertsons legal department, their own Park Center in Boise, for 15 years. And I was a litigation case manager and the business manager. So my background is more literature. I mean, in my spare time, and legal, and I manage our budget. So I'm more that brain set. I'm not good. In fact, I almost think I'm dyslexic when it comes to mechanical or spatial. I mean, I looked at these instructions and I thought, okay, if I didn't have this class, I probably wouldn't have done it, but that's lazy, right? I mean, I feel like my brain, I watch TV at night. That's lazy, you know? And I thought, okay, this is a challenge. And that's really, when it comes right down to it, what this class is about is, you know, doing things that are going to challenge us. And it's not jumping out of an airplane. I mean, putting these puzzles together, that, you know, hey, more power to you if you do that. But, you know, in the winter, if you want to challenge, this to me is a little challenging. And so it's really on getting ourselves out of our comfort zones, even if it is putting together this kind of puzzle or a model kit, or, I mean, there's lots of other activities you can do at home in the winter that would get you out of your comfort zone. So that's really what this presentation is about. So I kind of wanted to go around, and you're welcome to use the chat feature. And if does anybody, I hope you feel comfortable talking. I'm not comfortable talking, actually. I'm not a great public speaker. I'm an introvert librarian at heart. And so, but we're all friends here. I think I know all your names because I mailed you the puzzles, but I hope you feel comfortable using the chat feature. If not, maybe Carol can help you. But I'd like to know maybe one thing that each of you have done in this past year that has gotten you out of your comfort zone, or something new that you've tried that was really not something you would normally, an activity you would normally do. It could either be an outdoor activity, a physical activity, or a mental challenge, or anything like that. I mean, the pandemic has definitely gotten us all out of our comfort zones, but you know, how have you all, if you could just like put in a chat box, you know what, and if you're not sure how to use a chat box, feel free to unmute yourself and say, but I'd just like to hear what folks have done. Great. Okay. So taking a Tai Chi class. Oh, wow. 1,000-piece jigsaw puzzle. So Kathy, is that Kathy Hardy? What did you find more challenging, doing the 1,000-piece jigsaw or the 180-piece wooden puzzle?
Well, jigsaw puzzles, I've done 3 of those now. And the most challenging for me at first was just the size of it and all the tiny pieces, and just figuring out how to separate them and make it easier for myself. So I got better as I did the 3rd puzzle over the first puzzle. So I thought, okay, wooden puzzles, that should be fun. Then this kit came, and I'm so glad you've been talking about yourself, because I thought, I can't, there's no way. Oh my gosh. So I already even like started mine to make sure I wouldn't be behind the rest of you guys. And I thought, okay, good.
Like, you got as far as I did.
Oh no, I'm not even that far. I just have the first line done. So I'm so glad that the stress is off now. I can
this is not a competition. No. There's no prize for the winner. Yeah. Okay.
I was scared of keeping up with everybody else. So now I could just take my time. I won't finish it today. I know that now. And I just thank you for having this. It's going to be a challenge for me, but I'm up for it. I want to do it.
Good. Good.
Okay.
Well, thanks so much, Kathy.
Sure.
Anybody else? Oh, and I saw someone took a Zumba class. That's daring. I mean, you know, if you're not used to doing a class, and then, yeah, if you're not used to dancing or that sort of, that's good. Oh,
But
Sudoku.
just so you know, it takes between 3 and 6 hours to finish it.
Oh, wow. Oh, Chris, that looks great.
For
So
some people, takes
for
3 to
some
6.
people. Well, the first thing I did is I took Ziploc baggies, one for each letter page. And if
Okay,
you're
I did
smart,
that
you'll
too.
take a picture of the board of the plywood pieces before you take the pieces out, because some of them don't have the letter on them. So it plays. And if you do it right, which I didn't, the pieces will turn on it. It's really lovely. So at some point, I'm going to have to take part of it out to make sure the gears mesh better.
Okay, yeah, and that was something I kind of wanted to go into too, because I saw that you're supposed to wax the metal parts and.
Oh, no, it's the wooden parts. So they're wooden gears.
Why did it say the gray? But it said the gray areas.
Yeah, well, see, so the top and the bottom are kind of a blonde, but where they've been cut, they're kind of burnt. And so they're darker color. Those are the pieces that interact with one another, the gears.
Okay, that was what I wanted to ask anybody that did this music box, is I didn't understand what it meant. I mean, I got the wax. I thought it meant the mechanical parts.
No, because if you look at the instructions, they'll show you a gear and then they'll talk about putting the wax on it.
Okay.
Well,
And the gears are wooden.
Yeah, and I did the Ferris wheel, and I did it early because, well, here, can you see it? Anyway, it didn't say anything about waxing, but when I looked at the reviews on Amazon, they mentioned waxing pieces, I guess, to make them fit together. And there are gears, but they're made out of wood. And I haven't gotten the motor. It's got a solar powered or battery powered. I haven't gotten that to work, even though I've gotten it together. So either I need to do some waxing that I didn't do, or I had to glue a couple pieces together, full disclosure, on the Ferris wheel, because that where you fit those two wheels together, they don't want to fit together, pieces fall out. But I think it'll work. And another clue, I liked Chris's suggestion that you take a picture of the boards. I didn't do that, but I did save the boards after I punched out all the pieces. But I had so many small pieces on the Ferris wheel because it's 200 pieces. I used a muffin tin to put the smaller pieces in, and that helps. Because I'm not mechanical, even though in chat I said, you know, one of the new experiences I had during the summer was putting together some equipment, lawn equipment and other things that I'd ordered online. Even though I was able to get them together and they haven't blown up yet, I know I'm not very mechanical. So, but I learned a lot about myself in this process.
I was very impressed at how precisely these things are. They cut out and they fit together, and I was just amazed. And then on the music box, those several pieces that go around the corners, that they're like a zigzag cut, and so the wood forms around. Amazing.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. So intricate. And so far, I mean, it's amazing how the pieces all fit together. And I mean, I had trouble getting these two little pieces that hooked over. I can't remember. I should remember what they're called, because I had such a trouble, A7 maybe, to hook over. And I finally think I got it, but they were almost like hooked on the bottom and then the top. It was on the almost the very bottom.
The hardest piece for me to figure out, they've got a metal rod and they wanted to put a bead on it. And so there's some white strips. Well, what it is there's paper, and adhesive in the middle. So you peel one side off, put it on the rod and run it around a couple times, then pull the rest off. And then you kind of run the bead over on top of that. I had difficulty with that because I kept scraping it up when I put the bead on.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is Joan, and I did the clock. And I don't know if you can see it. Hold on just a sec.
Am I on yet?
Yeah, hold it higher. Yeah, that's
I-
lovely.
Hold on just a second. I can't see myself, so I don't know how you do it.
Yeah, just hold it up a teeny bit more. Yeah, that's beautiful.
Okay, I'll move
Joan,
back
do you
just a
mind
hair.
talking a little bit about any, for others who did the clock, any like challenges you had, or was it pretty straightforward?
still
I
have
haven't
a
done that
challenge.
one.
Okay,
Pardon?
I did the clock, and yes, it takes more than an hour and a half. More like, for me, it was 3 hours, but I didn't know if I should do it all at once or what. But anyway, I ended up doing it. The biggest thing I have a problem with is the hands on the clock do not, the little one will not stay in place. So if someone's doing the clock, it was like the third or fourth thing you had to do with the clock, but it just would not, you have to come together, whatever, I'm doing something wrong. And so I haven't put it, it's not put all together because the face, I haven't put it in solid yet. It's just sitting there.
Okay.
And the little teeny tiny parts, the ones up in, I don't know where you're at, but.
Yeah, no, we can see that.
By the steeple. Okay, I did it. I don't know what I did to the computer, but it's working. But anyway, right up here, this very little area, there's two little brackets. And every time I put it on, it would fall, because there's one on each side. So you have to hold the little this part, right? The little teeny tiny one. This part right here, you have to hold it. And then there's the other side, has the same exact thing. And you're trying to squeeze it into two little teeny tiny holes. And every time I would lay it down, they'd fall out. So I'd have to start over again. And then I got mad and I said, they can stay there. So I started something else. But I think you can see where the little hand is. The other two work, but that one little one will not stick. And I don't know what I'm doing wrong. I've done everything I could think of.
Joan,
Yes.
I think on clocks, the hands have the hole that hooks them onto the axis has a particular shape. It may be that you haven't pushed it down far enough onto the shaft.
Okay, so it's octagon and this is octagon. So
for each hand, there's a different diameter of place where it's supposed to be mounted.
right.
And
Okay.
it may be that it's not pushed onto that. I can't think of anything else that it might be.
Yeah, that might be what I'm doing wrong then. I didn't paint it or anything. I just decided to leave it as is, and I figured I could paint it later. But yeah, I'll try that. I'll take it back apart and readjust that one thing.
What I love about this process, and it gets us back to the theme of this whole class, which is, yes, building models, but the theme is brain health. And in all the things that we've talked about, we've encountered problems and we've had to use problem solving because we were faced with a unique situation. And when you look at brain health, one of the things that helps makes new neural connections in your brain is encountering new situations and figuring out how to solve them. So this whole process really leads into everything we know about brain health and how we can exercise our brain by encountering unique situations and figuring out how to solve that unique situation.
Right, exactly. Yeah, thanks, Carol. That's where I think getting out of your comfort zone and then following through on something you wouldn't normally do, especially intricate if you're not this isn't your bag. It really does, though, when you do figure it out and you reread and think, oh, I mean, how do you feel? Yeah. Yeah, like, okay, I can do this. Yeah.
I had a question for Chris. Chris, you did the little music box that plays the theme from Cats, and I was wondering, did you use every single piece that came?
No, I have loads of pieces, extra pieces.
Okay, that's good to know, because so they provide extras probably for us people that might lose a piece or two. So that's
There are 2 or 3 of those bending around pieces, several extra rods, several extra beads. I was really concerned because I thought, well, I'm going to tell them that it's not working, but I've got extra pieces.
yeah, it's coming together though. I'm moving right along here.
Yeah.
I was
Okay.
going to show you what I did. Before I took them apart, I painted the whole thing with liquid watercolor on both sides.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know, because I wanted some color on mine. So we'll see how that works.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Okay, and that's the music box, right, Pam?
Right.
Yeah,
So
okay.
I did the first step, kind of like the other lady, to make sure that I could figure this out. And there it is in blue. So.
Yeah.
I think that'll be beautiful. I really think I did this for one of the cards, but I think it's going to be essential that if you take a picture of the card, then you'll be able to figure out the numbering and which one's which. And like Pam, I put the A's in a Ziploc and the B's in a Ziploc, and that was really helpful for finding the pieces.
Yeah, here's my little card with all of them. And then the one, and I did the transparent watercolor so that you could still read the numbers and the pluses and everything on them.
Awesome.
Because if you did a thick acrylic, then you wouldn't be able to read them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was wondering, because I assumed that the paint set that came with the Ferris wheel was acrylic. And I wonder, because I read reviews for all of these, and some said that the watercolor might warp the wood, but it sounds like it didn't, right, Pam? If you used watercolor?
I did use watercolor, and I can still see through it. It's not too dark.
Yeah.
They did say to be careful not to let the woods, that if you use too much water, the wood could swell and then they wouldn't fit together. So I did it sparingly.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if we could go around and can everybody who's attending show like how far you've gotten? And if you didn't start it yet, that's fine, because really the original intent that was that we were all going to put these together in 90 minutes. So I'm so glad that you all got started and some of you finished them, but I'd love to see some other ones. If like Carol and Eduardo, can one of you show the Ferris wheel?
Oh, that's lovely. And does it work?
Oh, can you unmute yourself, Carol?
Yeah, I think Carol has it. Carol, you're muted. I haven't put mine together yet, but
Yeah,
Carol's looks great.
My son would love to have a mute button like that for me, but hey, yeah, I decided not to paint it because I like the natural wood finish. And I found that, like I said, I used a muffin tin to put small pieces together because there are some minute pieces. There were some extra pieces that they included in case things broke. I did, and there's gears, yeah, there we go. You can see some of the gears on the back, and then there's a motor down at the bottom. You can run it through solar power or battery power, but I haven't been able to make the motor work. And I think because the reason why the hardest step was taking the front side and the back side of the Ferris wheel and fitting them together, because there's about, for each bar across the Ferris wheel, there are at least 7 or 8 crossbars that you have to fit in at the same time you're snapping the 2 sides together, and they didn't want to work. Pieces kind of flew out everywhere. So I ended up having to use some super glue on part of the small parts, but they're not close to the gear. So I don't think the super glue is what, there's no super glue in the middle where the gears are. So that's not what's causing it to not run smoothly. I think maybe I need to wax the gears, even though that was not in my instructions. But I'll get it to work. I mean, even if I never get it to work, I think the models are wonderful. And guys, boy, I learned a lot about myself. I'm a former math teacher, very analytical, very much into problem solving. I would spend hours solving a mathematical equation or a proof in geometry, that kind of thing. But I've learned that I don't have the same kind of patience when it comes to working with my hands. And part of that is, I think, maybe because I've got some arthritis in my hands, but pieces went together. But I learned that my son definitely did not inherit his love of putting Lego models together still as a 30-something-year-old. He didn't inherit that from me. But the funny thing was, even though it was challenging for me and unique, new, I stuck with it. And that's why it got together about 4 days ago, because I was bound and determined to finish that thing, even though it was very challenging for me. So I learned a lot about myself. Most I like, but some of the things I learned about myself, I kind of knew, but it confirmed things that I knew weren't my cup of tea. So that's what I learned.
Finished.
Yeah, it's finished, but I'm still going to get this baby to spin. I'm going to make it work.
Carol, I have a question for you.
Sure.
I'm also doing the Ferris wheel, and I got that far, and that's where I thought I'll get.
No, you can't. Yeah, I think if you had another person helping you, and I don't, I've got 2 dogs and their paws are way too big to help. I think if you have another person helping, yeah, because see, well, I'm pointing at your screen, which you can't see, but all those little grooves, yeah, they all have to fit together. That's where I started super gluing. And I think as long as you don't put any super glue on that center, the center part, you'll be okay.
I'm worried that if I glue them, what if I glue them and they're out of whack?
Well, what happens is, because it's wood, it readjusts, because otherwise, unless you have another person to hold, I honestly don't know how you can get it together, because that part, honestly, trying to put the 2 pieces together that you're showing us took me almost an hour until I started gluing things. And it was out of desperation that I glued.
But that worked for you, huh? The glue?
It worked for me, but if you've got someone else, this was about 12:30 at night that I was trying to put it together, full disclosure. So I didn't have anybody else that was available.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I saw
that on her Ferris wheel that's not working. She may have the sides pushed too close, too tight, and that can cause them not to turn.
Well, and what happens, Joan, when you're putting those pieces together, unless you have, there's probably, oh boy, I don't know. I'm going to guesstimate 1, 2. On each bar across, each one of these little vertical bars, there's probably 8 to 10 points of contact. So you've got 80 things that need to snap together in unison, which is not going to happen. They're all not going to snap together as tight. So mine does bow out a little bit, and that very well could be part of the problem. But there was, no other way I could get it together. But like I said, I'm working on the motor part.
When I put mine together, when I was working on the gears, I noticed that the gears, they swung freely, but it was the little spoke that came out from my motor that was kind of tight. So I think maybe you might want to concentrate on the little motor part and make sure that's.
Yeah, that little plastic, because the gears above, and again, I'm pointing at your screen, which is stupid because you can't see me pointing at your screen. The gears themselves fit with 2 T-shaped locks. But the motor that's at the back, in fact, where she's holding it right now, you can see a little white plastic oblong oval thing. Yeah, that's what fits into the bottom gear. And that may be where I'm having issues, because what happens when I use the battery or spill, I didn't do the solar because the reviews said you really have to sit it in the sunlight, direct sunlight for it to work. And I thought, well, if I can get the battery to work first, that would be good enough. When I first turned on the little battery pack, it would jerk a little bit, so it's trying to move. So I think maybe that plastic thing, that plastic piece that you said, that you showed, that comes out of the motor to fit into the smallest gear at the bottom, that could be the key to my problem. So I'll work on it. Thanks for that suggestion.
Good luck, thanks. And thanks for your help.
Hey, Chris, why don't you say out loud what you just put into chat?
Well, in chat, someone asked which parts needed to be waxed. In the instructions, it tells you, and it's usually the teeth of the gears that need to be waxed, because they're going to have to, they'll have a moving connection. All the other parts are like a tongue and groove, where they just, it just sticks into something.
Well, and unfortunately, I don't have my well, I do have my direction page, but it's in my box. The windmill, at least the kit that I got, said nothing about waxing. The way I found out about waxing parts was by reading reviews on Amazon, because a lot of the reviews on Amazon are just like the dialogue we're having right now.
Carol,
this is so I will try waxing. Like I said, it wasn't mentioned in the instructions, but I'll try that. Then I think maybe the key for me is that little piece that fits in from the motor to that bottom gear.
So I'm thinking that as these products are all from the same company, if they needed you to wax, they would have told you to wax. I mean, I don't know why we needed to wax, because they're just simple gears that fit together and they should work. The thing with the music box is they've got several, like there's a jewel and a rod, and then there's a gear, and then there's another gear, and it's supposed to fit around on either side of something else. And then it's just trying to make it work. Some of those gears aren't solid. They kind of jiggle and get out of a line. Kathy, turn on your microphone. You're muted. Kathy, you're muted.
There. I had to use my little stick. I had to use my little stick of wax on little pieces like this to make them fit into pieces like this, because my little arthritic fingers, it wouldn't go. But if I waxed the wood on both sides, it easily slides in there. Well, easier for me. So this little piece of wax on the wood, I guess they're holding pieces or something, or just little attachments. That to me made it a way easier to get the pieces to fit.
Kathy, which one did you build?
I'm only on the music box, the very first and second pathway of the direction page. I'm making the music box.
Yeah, the same one as you, Chris, and me.
Yeah. So you haven't, so as you hold that up and look at it, at each corner you see that curved, the curved holes.
I'm working on that right now, the piece that's going to go around the edge. Yes.
Yeah, those were fun to put in.
Good. And I had to have the wax to make those little these little teeny pieces.
Yeah.
I had to wax them. They're so little and my fingers don't want to push them hard.
You may need more wax, because I about used up my wax just on the gears.
This stick didn't last you the whole kit?
No.
Wow. Okay.
Well, so when I tried to wax the gears, I held the stick like this and I ran the gears through it. So I made a trough out of it. So it didn't last very long.
Yeah,
well,
I did that
Kathy,
too, and I broke mine.
It may have been better. It may have been better if I ran it between the gears, which I didn't do.
So Chris and Kathy, did that wax come in your kit?
Yes.
Yes.
See, the windmill did not have wax. Okay.
It came in
I'm
a
That
little
makes me
plastic
feel
bag.
better. Okay.
Yeah.
I think you may not need wax, Carol. Try without first.
Yeah,
And
I will.
Chris-
And I got to tell you, even though my merry-go-round Ferris wheel isn't going around yet, and I'm going to solve that, just after listening to us giving input to each other and brainstorming through the issues we've had with our models, I may have to try another model, which I thought I would never say.
Pam, you said something?
Oh, I was just going to say, so, and it's interesting to hear because I read, yeah, I spent a couple hours reading reviews for all the kids because I really did try to pick the ones that got the most stars and that people didn't complain too much. I mean, you're always going to get people that, you know, but
Yeah.
but on this one, so, and then I put this together, but I still didn't get as far as Chris, but Chris, did you ever once, because so far I have not felt the need for glue for this one, but I definitely.
No need for glue.
Okay, but it's interesting now, Carol, I wonder, like, has anybody else that got the Ferris wheel, have you gotten very far and did you, well, I think, who was it that had the pieces that had already started it, but hadn't put the main pieces together?
I
'Cause
see
I think they're
Spinner.
all different.
I see Spinner gluing as we speak.
Okay. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, I am based on Carol's suggestion because that's the only way I'm going to get these two pieces together.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, speaking of like Carol mentioned that she had multiple connection points, there are a couple of places in the music box construction where you've got to like to put a lid on something, you've got to get all the pieces through, and that was hard. But if you get it, once you get them snugly in place, they go down pretty easily.
Yeah, and you're pushing on it and thinking you're gonna
Yeah.
smash it, you know?
Yeah.
So I have a suggestion. I got onto the, if anybody likes Facebook, I got on the Roker fans group page, it's 9.6 thousand members.
Wow.
And so if you need help later on, you can ask questions in that group and get kind of like what we're doing here live.
good.
But you can do it through the Facebook group.
Oh, great. That's
So this
great.
is Muriel. Hi,
Oh, hi, Muriel. And which one did you get?
we got the ship.
Oh, okay. And you
This
just got it
is-
this last weekend, right? Yeah.
We just got it Saturday. That's,
Wow.
yeah, you guys got the fun ones. So I'll show you what we've done so far.
Well, maybe your ship will actually sail.
Yeah. This is what we've done so far. We meaning my partner who is way better than I am with this.
Muriel, all you'll need is a bottle.
Right. Trust me, I'm gonna probably need one when doing this.
So Muriel, what have you found any, like, I know Sandy got that one and I think at least a couple, 3 more people got that one. Have you all, what have you run into issues or has it been pretty straightforward?
Bill, have we run into issues?
Yeah, my partner can't put cannons together.
I don't know cannons from. Yes, it's, I didn't know, we really haven't run into issues except lots of very tiny pieces. Oh my gosh, really? Yeah.
The
And
only
we
thing
didn't get
that I
wax
had a problem with,
we didn't get any wax either, so there.
Sandy, what
the
were you
only thing I
saying?
had a problem with was getting them apart or getting them off without,
Oh,
there's so many little grooves that are cut into these pieces.
I'm using my fingernail. That seems to work just fine.
Well, I got them all out, but I
Oh,
think
good.
that the sails are really, really fragile.
Okay. Yeah, well, that's as far as we
I don't know
got,
whether
so-
you got those out already too or not.
No, we haven't gotten those out yet.
Do these little sails? I don't know whether you can see them or not.
They're cut so they bend.
Oh, Sandy, are those made of wood too, the sails?
They're made of wood also, and
Oh, wow.
they've got all the little lines you see on those are cuts in the wood.
Oh,
So it
wow,
made them
very
really fragile so that they
Oh.
would bend.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking that I may have to reinforce them or something if I have to move them too much
Okay.
because of the fragility. I was afraid I was gonna break them the whole time. I was getting them out.
Have you put the string on yet?
I haven't put anything on. My sister came to visit the day after I got it and she left yesterday. So I haven't done a darn thing,
Okay,
but
okay.
I was kind of hoping that we'd be putting them together today, but you know.
Yeah,
it's-
I mean, that's what the original intent was of this class, but I'm fascinated by everybody. It's really helped to hear everybody else's experiences. Plus, Sandy, I want to hear, I saw what you said about repairing. What was it that you repaired or replaced a part?
Some
No,
of these.
I know I
little
meant not the
tiny-
puzzle, but in your house, like your,
Oh,
what did you
it
do?
was the igniter on my stove.
And you did that yourself?
Yeah, it was exciting. And it was really easy. And I keep thinking, boy, I saved me $150 on the repairman.
Yeah.
Cost me $20. So, but I was an electronics technician before, so that was kind of like, but it's been 15 years since I retired. So anyway,
Cool.
life is good.
So is anybody on that has a kit that's different than this? I know, I don't know if Lisa Lettner's on.
Yeah,
hi.
Hi.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. You can talk, Lisa.
I was gonna say, I have the music box, and so far it's going okay. I have had to use a little bit of wax on some of the teeny weeny pieces just to get them to snap in place better. And I think it's gonna definitely take me more than 90 minutes. I can guarantee you that, but it's so far it's kind of fun. And I think I'll have a sense of accomplishment when it's done, but it's really kind of beautiful. And
Can you hold it up so you can see? Oh, yeah.
this is what I've done for, and the music box actually already works.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I just have to keep at it.
I think,
Glad to know, I was getting a little worried about some of these pieces that were getting used up. So good, Chris, that you let us know that you don't use them. I guess they give you extras just in case.
I think so. So the part, could you hold yours up again, Lisa?
Mhm.
So the first part you do is you build up this, then you put that aside and then you build some of the upper areas. And then you're almost blind as you try and screw it onto the top of the music box. And I think you screw it in a reverse thread. And I think that might be where I've screwed up.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just at step number 4 right now. No, I think I'm still at step number 3. I'm at the end of step number 3. So then after that comes the fun part with the gears, which
If I may, let me screen share for a second. I've got a top view and a side view of. Oh, it's not disabled. Can we have screen sharing?
Eduardo, are you there?
Yep, I just did it, so you should be able to.
For Chris?
Yeah.
Okay.
So this is the side view.
Oh, okay.
And so from the row core above, you make that as a separate assembly and then you screw it on. And this is the top view.
Okay, and if Chris, if you look at the instructions, would that be from step number 4 on, would you say?
Let me go get the instructions. Hang on.
Hey, Lisa.
Yes.
Lisa A.
Oh,
Can you see my screen at all?
I can't. Yes. Oh my God.
Okay, so I'm on step 5. So I got this together and I had to use that little sticky, that double-sided tape that Chris was talking about.
Okay.
To get this to stay on. And then I got the little one here, and then here's and then this piece and that piece. So that's where I left off.
Yeah, and so it's that top piece, the piece in your left hand that you have to screw into the other. And I think it has to screw in reverse instead of right to
I
left.
see what you're talking about. To this here, this piece, they're the little thread. Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's really good information because the instructions don't tell you to do them separately.
No.
You know, that they should tell you that. And then so you have the two halves and then you combine them. So very good info.
Yeah, so they've got you making the two parts down through step 3, and they don't really. Oh, it isn't until about the last part of 6 when they have you screw it on, and it doesn't tell you to screw it in left to right or right to left, which I think would be an important step.
Did you say that's part of step 5?
I think it's part of step 6. Hang on a minute.
Oh, 6. Okay. Yeah. Step 5 is pretty short. Yeah.
Yeah, at the very bottom of step 6, on the bottom of the page, they have you putting it down on it, the last 3 pictures.
Okay. Yeah, I left off on step 6.
And then once you finish putting those together, then they've got these 2 strange arcs that come over that are just embellishments. They don't seem to do anything.
Okay.
Well, one of the things that I'm finding helpful, and it may not work for everyone, but I've been leaving my pieces in their frame.
Oh,
because
that's clever.
They're all labeled. And so it's a lot easier for me to just identify the piece. I don't know if you all can see that, but every little frame, and there's 5 of them, have the labels well marked, but some of the, once you pop them out of there, they don't have a number. Some of them do,
some of them do, some of them don't. Yeah. So
for me, it's just working easier to leave them in the frame and pop them out as I need them.
Lisa, that's nice. Depending on the brand, because the windmill is not windmill. Merry-go-round is a Ferris wheel is a different brand, and it just has, for instance, the whole sheet might have A on it.
Oh.
And it doesn't, but on the reverse side of the directions, they show each complete sheet, and on that one, I think it might have the numbers, so it's on a piece of paper rather than on the original sheet of wood. But I found it, even though I had a different brand, so it wasn't labeled the same way as yours, it helped having, after I punched out the pieces and put little pieces in the muffin tin cups, I kept the frames that they were in so I could turn over the directions, go back, look at the diagram, and still be able to figure it out. What's neat with all this, we were talking about before we started admitting people in to the class, 3 or 4 of us were talking about the instructions and the fact that maybe the instructions weren't complete, but if you've ever tried to write instructions yourself, it's not easy. It's a good process for us, maybe, that the instructions weren't completely correct, because it makes us expand or work our brains harder through problem solving. Well, this didn't work, so how can I try it a different way? So it feeds back in again to brain health, and
Absolutely. Yeah. It's makes us problem solve. It forces us to do that.
So back to the music box, there's one thing, and it's mentioned in the directions, but it was extremely helpful on several of the large octagonal pieces. There's a line that goes from the center out, and there are like 3 of those pieces that need to be oriented to that line, and it comes straight off of the barrel of the music box.
Is it the arrow, Chris? Are you talking about the arrow? Is it different than the arrow?
No, I think it's the arrow. I don't remember. I thought it was a line, but it could have been an arrow. But you see the barrel of the music box.
If there's an arrow, right?
Perfect. Yes,
Yeah. I don't know if
that's
everybody-
right. And so all of those need to be aligned for it to come together.
Well, what I thought I would like to see Lisa Lettner. Did you, and again, you all didn't have, well, one, I'm gonna say I opened Carol Arcade's kit before I sent it to her because I wanted to see what one of them looked like, and I didn't see, so I have the music box, and I didn't see this one before I sent the email about taking all the pieces apart. And then when I see this one, I have to say, Lisa Ortega, I did this, ended up leaving them in there because I thought, oh, wow. So yeah, all of them are different. But I wonder, Lisa Lettner, she got like a little space rover. I didn't know if she
Oh, wow.
had a chance to.
Yeah, the Harbinger rover.
Yeah. Have you, did you?
213 pieces. Thanks, Pam. And happy birthday, by the way. I just started it today, a little bit before. I've got Garden Gone Wild, so I've been doing a lot of harvesting and trying to do all sorts of stuff with my veggies before they go bad. But I did get this far, and it does have a little solar thing to it. And I'm on page 6 of 26.
Wow.
And I have to QR code for the assembly instructions for the motor.
Oh, wow.
But it's going to be a challenge, and I'm kind of looking forward to it. I will let you know when it does get completed. Because it's set up on my kitchen table now, so I'll go ahead and work out it occasionally and, pick it up here and there, especially when it's going to be raining outside now. So
yeah, it'd be fun to see all of the finished products, just to see what they look like. Yeah.
Violet, I love your library background. Do you happen to know what library that is?
No, I just picked it, so I didn't have to clean the back.
Here.
I had to work on Zoom, so this just makes it easy.
It's nice.
So did anybody else get a chance to get a head start and wants to share?
I'm going to be starting mine on Friday. I'm bringing it. I have a young man who's in his mid-20s, and he had a TBI, a brain injury. So it's a great pastime. We always change projects, and this is what we're going to start on Friday.
Okay.
His parents are really impressed. They had never heard of AARP before, and now they watch YouTube videos. But I had gotten the clock.
Oh, okay, good.
And it looks great. I've tried to do all the research before, so that try to eliminate, but this has helped a great deal as far as what to expect. But yeah, I'm looking forward to it, and he is too. So
good.
Karen, as a former special ed teacher, when you mentioned TBI, I was really interested because I subbed in the high school before I got my teaching job with a girl who had suffered TBI, a traumatic brain injury. Has it affected his motor skills a lot? Because I know memory is often affected, but what about his motor skills if you're doing modeling and things with him?
He's doing okay. He's doing okay, but he's been working on it now for over a year.
Yeah.
He was injured, a little over a year ago.
Okay, great.
But yeah, some of the pieces are a little tiny, but he also just likes to think about what is next. Which piece.
The sequential thing will be very valuable for him. Very cool project. I'm glad you mentioned that. The brain is a mysterious thing.
Oh, it's so interesting. Netflix has actually got some really good things on about brains, and it's kind of fun. But his parents are very impressed with some of the projects that I've learned through AARP and then utilize them with their child. So anyway.
Very, very cool. Very neat. Thank you for sharing that, Karen.
So one thing I thought I would share that I do have for those little teeny tiny pieces, I don't know if I could, I have a magnifier lamp that you could look through, and it's got the LED, and it's been really, it's been helpful to figure out the little teeny tiny pieces. And I have kept everything on the boards too. And I'm just gonna peel them off. I have a little knife, and so I just kind of pluck them down and peel them off as I go, just so they, again, won't get, you know, it just seems easier, more, you know, kind of more of a logical thing to do it that way, for my brain. So.
I have a question for Chris. Do you have any tips about the waxing? I'm making a mess here.
I don't know that I did it right. So what hold your gear up again. Where'd you go? There you are.
Yeah.
So
got my wax.
I took the wax and ran it around the edge. I don't know if I should have gone between the teeth. I probably should have gone between the teeth.
That's what I'm trying to do, but the wax is too fat.
Yeah, I went between the teeth and I broke it, but I really tried to do that because I figured I didn't know if that's what it meant.
Yeah, so I ran mine around the edge of it, and it made a trough out of the wax. I don't know.
Well, and if you think about it, if you go around the circumference of each gear, you're going to get the wax on the part of the gear that sticks out. But when you fit the gears together, that's going to fit. That's going to get the wax in the grooves of the next gear that it fits into, right?
Yeah, and then the traction will be at the point where they interact more so than in the crevice.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I think the issue with mine is that they may not be aligned because some of the gears are floating. Violet, what are you making? Ah, if you hold it in front of you, we can see it. Yes. You're making good progress.
Actually, I'm close to being done, but my dog ate my homework. Ordered a new one, and thank goodness Amazon ships really quickly, and I got it yesterday.
Oh, good. I hope your dog's all right.
She just likes to tear it up. She doesn't eat it.
Oh.
She's good. But I think the part I spend the most time on is the double-sided tape, trying to get the back off.
Yeah, I tried to use my fingernail to separate, and that was the only thing I could do. I suppose if I had like an X-Acto knife, you could have gotten in there easier. And the first time I used it, I put too much on, and when I put the bead on the pole, it just kind of, the bead just pushed the tape down, so I had to just put one time around.
Right. So that's what I'm.
You got a hammer? I saw in the instructions it said a small hammer will help, but I didn't bother doing that.
Yeah.
Which stage are you on, Violet? Is that Violet?
She's the same stage as you. She's got the bottom made.
Oh, okay.
Have you done the top piece? Oh, okay.
I'm working on the top piece, so far that's all I've done.
Yeah.
Progress.
And I remember it was not really clear when you put that the metal piece on the bottom of that big gear. I think you have to put the screws through opposite direction you think they would go.
I did find that the second time is a lot easier.
You found what?
Since I'm doing it the second time, it's a lot easier.
Yes. Yeah. It's another way with everything.
Well, I would like, so we have what, let's see. We start 2, 3, we have a half hour. It's up to you all, but I'd like to work on mine a little bit and then ask Chris if I need help, since he's doing the same one. But Carol, would you feel comfortable? Could people ask you, if the ones that are doing the Ferris wheel, and then I don't know the people who are doing the ship. It doesn't look like they've gotten too far, but, and if you don't want to do that, but I kind of, that was part of this, is to be able to work on this for a while and then, you know, ask others if you're on a step further.
Spinner, did you get the second side of your Ferris wheel on with the glue?
No, I'm still hoping I did it right. I have a question for Carol.
Okay.
It looks like the little pieces that hold on the chairs.
Yeah.
Are a lot shorter than the other two on that spoke. And so,
if that's the case, then you've got the chair, move toward the center of your circle, and those two taller pieces need to be pushed down more, because theoretically, and I had that same issue though, and I think it's because there's so many. Every time you put one of those little crossbars on, you know, that has a chair at each end of it, if all those pieces that have to interlock aren't pushed at the same height, the two halves of the Ferris wheel are not going to fit together properly, which is what happened to me. So I think probably, and I don't know if you can tell from looking at mine from the side. Just a second. Let me get my view. I'm not looking at my tile. Okay. Mine had to kind of bow in a little bit here to make that fit. These seem to be a little too long. The cross pieces there seem to be longer. And either they just were not cut to snap into the sidebars as much as the piece that pivots the chairs. I'm not sure, but that's what led me to glue.
Did you glue?
And so, yeah, I did. And I used super glue instead of, I didn't have any Elmer's. I don't remember. I had super glue on one other thing, and the other was taking too long to dry. So I used super glue, and I just put a little dab on each end of it rather than on, I put the super glue on this part rather than the little piece that the chair pivots on. But what happens is, and I'm going to show you with my hands instead, the Ferris wheel is probably wider and it does curve in a little bit where the seats fasten in. And that's because either these cross pieces were longer than this, or they didn't snap in to as far as this required. I'm not sure. So, but I don't think that's affecting the motor. I think something else is affecting the motor. So it shouldn't affect the ability of your Ferris wheel to turn, I hope.
Okay.
Well, now I know why they give you extra pieces, because one just went flying, and
oh,
I can see it.
Well, and I had one piece break that I didn't have an extra on, but I used I think I had wood glue for that, and I was able to glue it back together because it didn't totally break off, but the layers kind of came apart. And I was able to glue that, and then an hour later use that piece. So if something breaks or comes apart where you don't have an extra, it did work to use some wood glue, but then you have to wait, give it some drying time, and then you can assemble again.
So Carol, when you look at the outside of your wheel, and now I'm worried I don't have those little cross pieces pushed in far enough. Do yours come all the way to the edge of the wood on the outside?
Yeah, they're supposed to. Oh no, the cross piece, the piece that's in the middle. Oh boy, you know. Well, there's the piece that's in the middle here that's got U-shaped ends, and then there's those little T-shaped fasteners. The T-shaped fasteners are built so that there's on the cross part of the T, the top of the T, that sticks out about 1/8 of an inch from the edge of the Ferris wheel itself, and it's supposed to. So it should be sticking out a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, that's where I was at like I said, about 12:30 one night. Yeah.
but the little cross pieces here,
Yeah.
although there's like 20 of them there, they don't
Right.
go all the way through to the other
No,
side.
they don't come through. No, what happens is, and I can't take mine apart, but the cross beam, the piece that you push through from this side, the T piece will lock that in place. No, the crossbar is supposed to stay on the inside of the wheel, and the T piece goes through the hole to connect it. So yeah, so but they still, I found that some of those cross pieces that I'm going to call them, that the ones that go sideways, some of them might have been cut slightly differently, because some of them seem to fit snugger against the side of the wheel than others, which again caused it to not to be totally, like I said, it probably bows out a little bit, but that should not affect the center of the Ferris wheel. Is the part that rotates with the motor, so that it shouldn't affect that part of the rotation.
Okay. Thank you.
That's my story, and I'm sticking to it, but I'm not sure it's true.
How are you progressing, Pam, with your color-coded
Oh,
ones?
I was just typing you and Violet a question. When you were talking about using a hammer, because I'm starting to use the back of my little screwdriver that it came with, is this like, see this tiny little, they're all tiny, right? But it's C10. I'm on step 6. It's the first step of step 6. And then these tiny little black, like hard plastic, I can't get them to go in. Is that where you're talking about?
No, that's not what we're talking about, but here's what you do. Get it in partially, put it upside down so that the grommet is on the table, and then you push down and it goes in pretty easily.
Okay, because I know it should, because there's little grooves, so it should fit in there, but
I used a hammer on it. I couldn't get it in.
Chris, I have a question of the music box. So I'm on step 4, the very tail end where I'm working on B4, B5, B7. So I have that snapped together, but now what? What do I do with that?
Okay, see, look, Lisa, so it goes right here, and then these gears go underneath, and then there's these little round. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of steps to just
Those little round things are like a lock washer to hold it in a position on that pole.
Yep.
But that pole has got point just above the jewel on the centerpiece, Pam.
So it goes right in.
Right here, the little
right
groove.
there. So, so there's a groove on that one, but on some of the pieces, there are 2 tools that come in the kit. One of them is just punched out. The other one you have to construct, which is a pain in the neck. But on the surface of it, it's got the numbers 1 through 6, and each number is a different depth that you can push. The components on a rod, which will make it line up with the gears.
This thing, this.
Okay, so that one comes with it, and that one helps you align gears on one of the rods. But there's another one, and it's like 4 little pieces of wood that stick together, and they make little channels that you push the pieces on the rod down. On number 1, it goes in deeper than on like 4 or 5. Do you have that one?
Oh, I guess I haven't gotten to that part yet.
Made that yet. Let me see if I can find it to show you.
Yeah, I haven't gotten there yet.
It took me a while to figure out what it was because they didn't explain.
could it be E17? What they're calling E17 and E16 or not? I'm not sure. Now it's
Okay.
getting harder.
If we do this class again in the spring, here's one takeaway. I should have sent everybody the same kit. Does everybody agree on that?
Oh, I like the variety.
I wanted to see all the different kits, but I'm sure the people, they're getting tired that didn't do the music box might be getting tired of
I
hearing
am
it, or
so
maybe choose a
happy.
different one.
I am so happy I got the clock.
Okay.
Listening to all of you. I had a good, probably half of the clock put together before we came to class. But listening to you guys and to get the hint about wax, I never would have thought about wax with the clock. And there were some pieces that didn't really want to go together until I went and got a candle and then waxed. And now it's together.
Oh, and you thought of it on your own.
I'm on I'm on my last step of putting my clock into what I have already done.
Wow.
So far. So we'll see what happens, but I love that you had this class. It took me out of my comfort zone. I love jigsaw puzzles, but I had never done a 3D puzzle before. And now I would do another one because of this. I think it was a very fun activity. I talked to a friend today who said, oh my gosh, I just couldn't do something like that. I couldn't do it. I don't have any spatial. And she went on with this whole conversation. But I like to see how things work. And that's why I like to put things together, which I did today. And I love this class. So thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you.
No, and your friend really could do it. I have no spatial ability either, but she could.
Yeah.
It's just patience. You have to have patience, which I don't have either. But
maybe a choice of two puzzles, Pam. Maybe give people a choice, like basic and more advanced or something.
But Pam, I would recommend that you get them from the same company. The Ferris Wheel is from a different company. And it seems the company that starts with an R, one of you other guys, what company is that?
Roll-Off.
Yeah.
And actually they're a division of Roker. That's why I picked that one.
Okay.
And I wanted to see how some looked if they used the paint set.
Yeah. This is from a different company. And I know from reading reviews, again, some of the people on Amazon who have done lots of models were saying that they see a difference depending on what company makes them. And I think if you order them all from Roker or whatever that's called, maybe two different versions, a medium and a more challenging, because then you'd have the commonality of having, if you use the same company, all the individual pieces labeled on the original board they come on. That way there'll be a little more consistency. Yeah, and I know since we all may be leaving eventually, I'm going to do something that I'd normally do at the end of class, but I'm going to do it a little bit early since, and I know I've got a much needed haircut. I'll have to leave at 3:30, but some of you may end up staying on longer. The very last thing besides thanking Pam, which we'll do in a few minutes, the one thing that I needed to do to close class, we're doing something different this year. We're having, just like when you go to the movies, you have a preview of coming attractions. Well, I wanted to let you know what was coming up next week as far as NKA classes. So on the 21st, there's an eco-friendly alternatives to landfill waste. It's part 3. That's coming up on the 21st from 10 to 12. And then if you're interested in volunteering for NKA, and there's lots of different kinds of roles you can do it, you don't have to be on screen. There's a class called Interested in Volunteering for NKA. That's on the 25th from 1 to 1:45. Then we have another class on online password and internet security on the 26th from 2 to 3. On next Wednesday night, there's a fun class that I'll be facilitating called Agua Fresca. We're going to learn how to make agua fresca from 6 to 7 p.m. And then the I'm Just a Bill. Oh, what was that television program years ago? The cartoon thing that taught kids about democracy. So it's I'm Just a Bill, the Idaho way. And that is on the 27th from 2 to 3. One more. Wow, we've got a lot next week. The last class that I'm supposed to mention is Healthy Living. Oh, hey, we're on a theme. Healthy Living for the Brain and Body, tips from the latest research. So if you, on the 27th, which is a Wednesday, a week from today, from 1 to 2:15, take that class, you're going to learn about all the ways that what we're doing today is valuable for your brain. So before we go, I want to sing happy birthday to Pam. Pam, my microphone's on. Oh, well, bear with me. Happy birthday to you.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Pam. Happy birthday to
you. And many more.
Thank
Since
you.
we may be signing off at different times, I want to give Pam a hand. Pam, great class. I hope you do this again. And I'm not signing off yet, but I wanted to fit that in before people have to sign off.
Yeah.
Thank you
For
so
the
much,
music.
Carol. And thank you, everybody. I'm really appreciate. I thought people are going to kill me when they open the boxes.
Well, it was good to be out of my comfort zone today, and I'm glad I joined this class. I was thinking I would make some excuse and email you, say, I'm sorry, I can't do this, but I'm glad I stayed because I'm going to build this thing. And Chris, you're right. This bottom part was kind of fun to put together.
That was the most fun of it.
Yeah, I like this. I got this done while I was listening to everybody today. This is fun.
The question was raised. I went to my extra parts box and I found this tool. So at the end so on the second row of part 6, go to your instructions, look at part 6. The end of the second row, there are 3 long rectangle pieces. And then there are 3 little connecting pieces. And you stick them together and they look like this. Let me put it in front of me.
Okay, yeah. How do they connect though?
There are 3 little connecting pieces that go between them. It's pretty clear on the instruction.
Okay.
Okay. Then that becomes T2, tool number 2.
Oh.
And so if you look at the piece, if you look at the middle piece on the diagram, you see how each of those little holes is shorter than the other. Well, when it's all sandwiched together and you've got a gear and you're putting it on a rod, you push it, so you're putting it into hole number 3, you push it down, and that determines how far down the rod that gear is, so that it aligns with the gears in the device.
Okay, wow, okay.
And so there are 2, 3, 4, there are 5 different slots of varying distances.
Okay, I see what you're talking about now. It's all in step 6, which
and if you look just below step 6, you can see where they're pushing gears down towards the bead on different pieces.
So I'm stuck on this. There's this, and then there's little tiny block. That's supposed to
Yep. So Pam was asking about that before. So try and get it in a little bit, turn it upside down and push the wood down onto the grommet against the table. And I think
it's
Pam, did you use a hammer?
Hard to do.
Yeah, you might need a little tap from a small hammer with that.
Yeah, I was just afraid I'd break it, but.
Yeah, and so what that does is it gives kind of a washer, but it puts friction. So when you put it onto one of the rods, it kind of holds its position.
Okay.
Oh, there it goes. Yeah, you really have to press.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, I got it.
Well, Pam McKnight used a hammer and it seemed to go on pretty easy for her.
No, it stuck to the hammer and came back out.
Oh, I finally got it, but it took me.
So did you put it, are you hitting the wooden side or the rubber side?
Rubber side.
turn it over against the table and drive the wood onto the rubber.
Okay.
Yeah, I finally got it, but wow, it's hard.
I think there's 3 or 4 of those you need to do.
Okay. Yeah, this class was good for me because I never would have done this on my own. I was expecting to get like a paper airplane with 3 parts. Like, okay, A, B, C, you're done.
We wouldn't want to be that easy on you. So, okay, if we do this, if I do this in the spring, so I'll do one easier puzzle. They have some really easy ones. I saw these and thought, oh, they're so cool, you know, that I had no idea they're this complex, but I could pick up. They have some that are look really basic, but they're just not as cool. I don't think any of them are super easy, but yeah, I think even the clock one, I think it sounds like Joan and Karen, well, Karen's gonna get started on it later, but who is it that has it finished? And so who was it, Nancy, or who was that somebody, I'm not sure who it was, maybe they're not on anymore, that had theirs, and theirs almost looked like a darker stained that had the clock. Maybe they're,
I don't know.
Yeah, I didn't recognize her, but it sounds like she just started it not too long ago and she got it finished, but.
Looks like Spinner got that top piece on.
Pardon?
It looks like Spinner got those 2 pieces together. Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah, I think if I can figure out how to
That looks pretty cool.
Yeah, great.
just glue those 2 together now on the other side. But if I can just figure out how to get those little chairs on there.
Oh, you have to put the chairs on before you. Oh, but wait a minute. But you know what though? Let's go back to Skinner, please. I don't know your first name, Spinner.
My name's Jerry, but
yeah, Jerry, you know what? That's the same thing I ran into. Theoretically, you're supposed to put the chairs on first, but that does show that your little cross piece that hooks the chairs in. Yeah, that's why I had to use the super glue, and I had to put super glue on the 2 little holes on the side, and put the cross piece in and hold it closed long enough for the super glue to dry.
Okay, yeah, that's what
and that's why it took an hour to put so I'm okay. I mean, theoretically, those should have fit in snugly, but I think those crossbars that are further in are a little bit too long.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, but again, if you use super glue just there, that is not going to affect the rotation, which is the motor part that I'm still figuring out.
Right. Yeah, I think it'll work. I think it'll
awesome.
Work.
Yay.
Thank you.
Oh, it looks complex.
Neat.
This is Joan, and I got the mechanism to work. The thing of it was, the hands were black and silver. If I use the black hands, it doesn't work. When I flipped it over and used the silver, it's fine.
Terrific.
But
so
it's
working clock
it's
now?
Directional.
But according to the instructions, it showed black, but it wouldn't fit on there. So I flipped them over and they work fine now.
So now you got a working clock now?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Joan, could you move a little further away from your computer screen, the camera?
I can't see myself, so I don't know.
There we go.
Oh, there, we can see it.
Back a little bit more.
Tell me.
Oh, neat.
And lift it up a tiny bit.
Yeah.
That's amazing. It looks beautiful.
Yeah.
Very cool.
And is that solar powered?
Nice.
No, I put a battery in it.
Oh, cool. So you're done now.
Yeah, it's clicking. At first, the hands didn't move, and then all of a sudden it started clicking.
Cool.
Oh, that's cool.
But it's done. So, and it's moving. All the hands are moving. But like I said, the silver it shows black, and then that's why I thought it had to be black. And so still wouldn't work for me. Every time I turned it, it would fall off.
I think that's so
Then I
cool
switched
because
it over.
that's so cool because now you'll have something you can put in your house that's functional, and you can look at it and say, I did that.
I did that.
I made that.
Hey, Pam, I'd like to see yours when you finish, because since you painted it.
Okay. Yeah, so it's hard in this light. You can't really, it looks too, it's not as dark as it looks in the picture.
Yeah. Yeah, but do you mind sending, do you have my email, proot@aarp.org? Yeah, send, yeah.
Okay, I'll do that.
Pam, could you send it out to us too?
Yeah,
The
I can just,
picture?
can I just reply all to that email, or how does?
I think so. I don't think anybody would mind it. I guess I'd love to see everybody's actually. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
If we send it, well, Pam Root, yeah. Since you send emails to all of us, letting us know the kids were coming, don't you have like not a distribution list, but you know what I mean? So if we send pictures to Pam Root, she can then attach the pictures and send email to the rest of us.
Okay.
Okay.
If you don't mind, Pam Root,
no,
that would be awesome.
No,
So I would suggest, if you can control it, that you send them as a low resolution image so she can put a bunch of them in the email. So I hate receiving a large JPEG and then you have to kind of move across and down to try and figure out what the picture is.
Right. So, and it's pamroot@aarp.org?
Yeah, proot@aarp.org.
Proot.
Proot.
All right, everyone, I see that it's 3:30 and I don't know what kind of time constraints Eduardo probably knows, but even though I'm the facilitator and supposed to be on till the very end, I am going to have to sign off so I can go get a much needed haircut. But I did mention the classes that are happening next week. And if you go to your chat box, now I'm going to send it. Okay, I've just put in the CVent site where you can sign up for more classes next week. And I hope to see all of you again. So sorry for signing off.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Can I just say one more thing?
Bye-bye.
Yes.
Hey, for those of us that are doing the music box, do you mind if we really get stuck? Do you mind if I email you?
No, that's fine.
I bet Carol Auercade wouldn't mind if the people doing the Ferris wheel. It sounds like those are the two that are really giving people trouble.
I'm happy to stay online if that would help you.
Do what?
I'm happy to stay online.
Okay, no, it's going to take me a while to get through 6. I'm going to work on it tonight, but just step 6 looks like a bear.
I wouldn't mind picking Chris's brain because I'm kind of stuck on on this step 5. I'm not sure where to go. Is this the tool that you were talking about, Chris? This little gizmo?
So there's two tools. That one, okay, hold it with the fat part to the top.
Fat part? Like
yeah,
that.
there, when you put the bead on the little rods.
Right.
So if you align the first notch, raise your finger up until it stops. Now, right down, right there.
Okay.
But so you see that little hip there?
Yes.
Okay, so you align it with the jewel there, then a gear fits in that first one, a gear fits in the second one, a gear fits in the third one. So that helps you align the gears so that they will mesh with the bigger gear. And then the other side, there's another sequence of gears on a rod that need to align to that one. The other one, the other piece you haven't made yet.
Okay.
So the other piece is tool 2 that you make. So if you look on your instructions on 6, and you look at the far right side of the second panel, where it's got T18, T17, and T16,
Yes.
and that little piece between them, those three stick together to form a tool.
Oh, okay.
So in your mind, you put a gear on a rod, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you put the bead on the table, and you're trying to adjust the height of the gear. So on this tool, there are different grooves, different holes, different length holes, and so you push T2 down to align the gear at the correct position on the rod.
Okay.
And if you look at the third panel of 6, you can see where they're putting a gear on there, and then they're using T2 to push it down. Using hole 1 on T2, push the part into position.
Wow. I would have never figured that out. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I'm going to give it a whirl and we'll see what we can do. Yeah, the base, this part was easy.
Yeah.
Well, the trickiest part is getting the bead on the rods and getting the gears the proper placement on them. And I think there's some mistakes on here, because sometimes you don't have that little wooden washer, and so the gear wobbles, and you need to make certain
Yeah.
you look at the pictures really carefully, because in one image it shows the washer, and the previous image it didn't show the washer.
Right, it's E15, I think is what.
And so then you get washers that wobble, or washers and gears that wobble.
Okay. Oh, I see them. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, E15 is the washer.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And I'm gonna keep working at it. And
Oh, one thing that helped me. So I had a pair of pliers that I set on the table, and you know how where the mouth part of the plier comes together. I'd have the plier closed. I'd sit it on the table, and then I would put the rod with that little wooden washer right near the hole between the teeth, and then I'd tap it down, or I'd push it down.
Oh,
and that, to help to get the gear onto the rod.
Did you use needle nose pliers or regular?
No, I just had a pair of pliers.
Okay.
And I used it as a surface to push against.
Oh, okay.
And I suppose if I'd have used a hammer, I could have tapped on it.
I've got some jewelry making pliers that will probably work. Because
and so basically I set it up so that the wood was resting on the plier material, and the rod went down through into the gap between the teeth, or behind the teeth of the pliers.
Okay.
All right.
Eduardo, did you make something?
Well, I had the Ferris wheel, but my MBA cohort is pretty brutal right now. So I got as far as painting it. So I painted it, but
oh, nice.
I've been trying to keep the pieces away from my 20-month-old so he doesn't grab them.
Well, it sounds like the hard part is getting those two sides of the Ferris wheel to stick together.
Yeah, I'm wondering if you're able to, instead of building one entire side of the Ferris wheel, if I could just build on top of it and do piece by piece, instead of trying to build one side and then put it together. If I can just put piece by piece.
I didn't do that one. I have no idea.
Yeah, I'll see if that works.
Pam, you said something?
Well, it sounds like that Carol could maybe help too for the Ferris wheel.
Yeah, because she finished, she got hers pretty well done.
Yeah.
I was wondering about the, did you use that two-sided tape on the beads to keep them on?
Yes.
I did.
Okay.
Have you tried to do the two-sided tape yet?
I have not. I think someone's Debbie might be at my door. Let me just go double check.
Pam McKnight, were you saying something?
Probably should close it up, I guess, since we're running over time. What was that, Chris?
I thought Pam McKnight started to say something.
Oh,